Sticking to keto is really hard. The simplest meals have weird ingredients. Keto replacements don't taste quite right. You have to weigh and measure and track everything. And even when you think you figured it out, you get kicked out of ketosis. And then you're gaining weight again and you feel like you're starting over. I don't want you to worry because I'm going to help you understand why it feels so hard. And well, first of all, the good news is it isn't your lack of willpower that's making it feel hard. It isn't even the food that makes it feel so hard. The real problem is that there are these 4 hidden pressures that we all feel them and we can't avoid. These pressures, they cause stress, and that floods our body with cortisol. And so do you know how they call insulin the fat storage hormone? I honestly think they should be calling cortisol the belly fat hormone. Nobody wants belly fat, so I'm going to show you exactly how to solve these 4 pressures. So let's get started. 7 a.m., 9 a.m., and noon. I know you just had a reflex reaction to those numbers. Get up, have breakfast, and get ready for your day. Start work, and lunchtime. How is it that we all thought the same thing? It's because they've been training us since childhood. So companies with school bells and work breaks to eat by the clock, and also to ignore our body's natural signals for when we're actually hungry. So what that means is that we no longer wait for our brain to trigger that stomach growl that tells us to go get food. Instead, we eat as soon as we roll out of bed, and then we eat at noon. And even if we aren't hungry, we'll have that meal at noon because, well, what if I can't eat again and I'm hungry at 2:15? We're so afraid to not be able to eat when we feel hungry that we've lost the connection to our natural hunger cues, Wellness Warrior. This is a huge deal. Not even just a big deal, it's huge. I want you to imagine that you were tasked with keeping the fridges stocked on your entire street, but you didn't have access to those fridges or even to those households. What you know is that typically people need stuff like milk and eggs and fruit and vegetables, meat. You know, we know what we keep in our fridges, but what you don't know is what type of household this is. So you're not sure how quickly they're going through whatever it is that you've put in their fridge. A household with kids under 5, you might not be buying them enough milk, for example. Or if there's a carnivore household, all those vegetables and fruits you're buying are spoiling. You would need to evaluate the fridges and the households in order to make good purchases. When we were babies, we just understood when to get off the breast. We just did it. And when we wanted to take the bottle, we took it. And if we didn't want it, we didn't open our mouths. We would fuss, right? Our parents couldn't even force us to eat if we didn't want it. Somehow, learning to talk stopped us from knowing when we were hungry. Is that what happened? We all know that that doesn't make any sense. No one goes to the store to buy more milk because somebody poured 1 bowl of cereal. We wait until the milk is getting low and we will buy more milk. Parents, I want you to just pause and consider, why did you stop trusting your child? Your child used to tell you when they were hungry. They would cry for food. Hunger signals are intense and uncomfortable. Fullness signals are intense and uncomfortable. But when we stop trusting our children and then we force them to eat on a schedule, eventually we turn into adults that today, Wellness Warrior, we don't know how to just allow ourselves to eat when we're hungry. You need to learn to trust your body again. Your body knows best. It knows when you need food. Now, what will happen when you can't eat at the designated time? Let's just look at that for a second. What happens if you really can't eat at that time? So missing a meal doesn't lead to a catastrophe. I have had that happen when I worked for the government. Often I would be in these meetings with families that went long because, of course, people don't agree, right? And I ended up not being able to eat because I had to go to rush from one meeting to another. Not once did I have a panic scenario happen. Now, granted, I had a lot of extra weight on me. And guess what my body did? It tapped into the extra weight on me. I never had a situation where I couldn't finish my day. Our fears about what will happen to us if we don't get to eat are based on what we were told and taught more than what actually happened to us physically. There's a few minority of people that when they don't eat on a schedule have low blood sugar and end up in scenarios where they're feeling faint or have problems. But most of us, our body pulls some energy off of us and we're able to continue. I will even say that most of us are so paranoid about not being able to make it to a meal. If we were in a scenario like what I was in, would probably have had a snack in my bag ready to eat. And these are the silly things that we do because we're so afraid of not being able to have lunch at lunchtime. Okay, the other thing that we're taught is that somehow Aunt Betty being insulted because I didn't want to try her cookies matters more than my diabetes, right? Somehow I'm supposed to feel bad and so I'm a bad person if I don't just try a cookie when I'm trying to take care of my health. I really will tell you about wellness warrior that it amazes me that people will hard exhale because we don't want to eat junk and try to make us feel like we're being difficult. Or they're going to act like, oh, poor you. Oh, I forgot that you're not allowed to eat. You don't eat anymore. How is it that saying no to a cookie is not eating? We are so people pleasing and we're trained to be people pleasing that these things actually make us feel bad. And we end up walking around feeling like there's something wrong with us. But it's also because our brains are hardwired for social connection. We want to feel like everybody else. We want to be accepted by the people we care about. So we live in this world where we know we shouldn't be eating stuff. We know that if we eat this thing, we're going to harm ourselves. And Aunt Betty shaking her head and saying, oh, poor you, you can't have, well, yeah, oh, I forgot I shouldn't have offered you this, makes us feel like there's something wrong with us. Connecting with people is actually necessary for emotional stability. I'm not going to pretend that that's not true. But we've been misled by companies to believe that the only way to connect is through food. We have to sit and connect over a meal. We can't just watch the movie together. We need to share popcorn too. All these silly things that they teach us. When the truth is, when I reject the cookie, I'm not rejecting Aunt Betty. I'm just rejecting the cookie, right? I care about her. And, maybe part of the problem is they're not seeing that what I'm doing is saying yes to my health. That maybe I need to work on the way I say no, right? Maybe sometimes when we are getting healthy, we're a bit indignant because I will admit that sometimes I'm a little much when I'm like, I don't eat garbage. And I might say that. We can definitely be polite to the people that we love and just say, hey, I appreciate the offer, but no, thank you. I'm good. But I want you to understand that me saying no to the cookie is saying yes to my health. It's saying yes to having more time on this planet with the people that I love, where I can do activities with the people that I love rather than being in pain. Because I lived that story from 23 to 46 where I was limping around. And if I did an activity, I needed to take 2 or 3 days to recover because my body was inflamed and I was sore all the time. I have a lot of positive reasons to eat healthy, to say no to the cookies and the chips and the ice cream. But I don't have to be rude about it. But I would appreciate if the world would accept that it's okay to not want to eat junk food. We come to events and we get together with people because we want to be with the people. How about if we focus our energy on connecting and not on ruining our health, right? Like if we connect and have a good chat or engage a great movie or whatever activity, being at the beach or whatever we're doing, having good conversations and fun together That's what getting together should really be about. I want to pause here and thank channel supporters. Your contributions allow me to buy books and dedicate the time to making these videos. If you are enjoying these videos, these are the people to say thank you to, like I'm doing right now. And if you want to become one of these people, you can join my Patreon, join the channel, or my favorite, directly support me with the link in the description. All of those help me to have the time and buy the books that I use to make these videos. Okay, let's jump back to the video. What about your own kitchen though? Are you tempted in your own house? Are there non-keto foods that your family eats, but they're kind of in your face and threaten your success? Now, a lot of people are going to say that if you really want to succeed, willpower will stop you from eating that junk food. How does that line up with the research that shows that 90% of people who lose a significant amount of weight gain it back? And they gain it back with extra. I was in that group. I remember losing 40 pounds, putting back on 50, losing 20 pounds, putting back on 30, over and over the course of, I can't remember how many years. I'll put the chart here. Unfortunately, willpower has nothing to do with avoiding junk. But then maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's great that willpower is not the reason you're failing. We want to eat junk because, first of all, we know how amazing it is. We've eaten it before. It tastes great, right? It makes us feel great. So, full transparency, when you eat junk food, when you eat garbage, it actually impacts your brain. Your body feels relaxed and good, and you get a dopamine hit in the pleasure center of your brain that causes you to want to eat more and more and more of it. This is real. Secondly, we've been trained to see junk food and garbage as a way to solve our problems. I made a whole video about it here that you can go watch. But the most important reason that we eat garbage is because we're addicted and out of control, wellness warriors. First of all, you're going to be so motivated at the very beginning of doing this because you see the possibility of getting your health back to being at goal weight again. You see people like me that went from being 80 pounds overweight to being at goal weight in 5 months. You would be crazy not to want to at least try this. So you know that eating on plan is a good idea and getting junk in is a bad idea in the beginning, right? If you don't see or smell garbage, you have a better chance of not engaging with it. Now that's going to give you the time to get through the withdrawal from the addiction that you're living, that you don't even know that you're living. Most people are not aware that sugar in almost every food, including those fruits that, nature's candy. Yeah, even the fruit is pulling you to overeat. By eating on plan, you're going to let yourself get to a place where you can get through your withdrawal and that physical pull towards garbage. And honestly, if you live alone, you could just decide to never buy garbage for your house ever again. If you don't live alone, if there are other people in your house, like a spouse or even, teenage children, either A, you could buy things that they like and you don't, but you can also just ask these people, so your family members who care about you and want you to succeed, to eat their garbage away from home. Right, especially if it's possible for them to do, like your spouse and your teenage kids. It's harder for kids who are younger. But again, if your kids are younger, this could be your opportunity to teach your younger kids to eat healthy. Throwing that out there. As a parent, what do you want your children, what do you want their lives to look like moving forward? At minimum, we want a garbage-free home for the first month. But here's the truth that I want everyone to pay attention to. Banning garbage from your house forever is only helpful if you live alone and you're never going to leave your house ever again. But unfortunately, and I hope that's not an unfortunately. Hopefully you're not planning to just isolate yourself to your house forever. We need people, as I said earlier. It's psychologically important for us to interact with other people. So never leaving your house isn't part of the answer. The truth is, after the month, the garbage should be allowed back in, and you need to decide that you won't eat it. This isn't about willpower. This is about taking a decision, being able to look at that and saying to yourself, that's not food, and therefore I'm not eating it. That's not healthy, and therefore I'm not eating it. That's not for me, and therefore I'm not eating it. All of those are things you should be saying about things that are unhealthy, garbage, stupidity. That's part of your commitment to yourself to get healthy. And that's nothing to do with willpower. This isn't just a bad habit that we have, eating garbage. That's not what's happening. Our hormones are triggered when we eat garbage, and that causes a physical hormonal drive to get chocolate in my case. I don't know what it was, insert your favorite junk food there. But when I say that we are addicted, I'm saying it not only because the pleasure center of our brain is being triggered, it's a hormonal manipulation that companies have been benefiting from, pushing forward. Insulin is being impacted, and when insulin is high, all of our other hormones get shifted, and it leads to us feeling a certain way. Like I told you, your body physically feels good. You feel relieved. You feel like you are having a reaction. And then because I feel the way that I'm used to feeling, it's comforting to feel like I feel normal. Even if the normal feeling that I'm having is causing my health issues. By eating on plan for a straight month, by living through this withdrawal and interrupting this normal feeling that we walk around with for decades because we don't know better, we interrupt this. And now we have a new normal that we're creating. It's not normal. It's not a habit yet. It's imperative that you allow yourself to see this new normal, to see the new benefits of eating less sugar. So in my case, immediately I noticed that I was thinking more clearly. Like within days, I was quicker, and my joint pain was gone, and I was still obese, wellness warrior. I was sleeping more soundly. I had more energy. And by the end of month number 1, I actually lost 21 pounds. Those benefits allowed me to really look at what was happening when I felt the urge to go back to stupidity, to go back to garbage. And even though it didn't happen often, it happened when I was emotional, but when I had that thought of eating off plan, and then I understood what I would be giving off, 90% of the time I was quickly able to identify that something was bothering me. And obviously I put my energy into solving it. And the other 10% of the time, I noticed that it was because something good was happening. And I was trying to celebrate. And I was going back to my old habit of, how do you celebrate? You eat something fun or you drink something fun, right? In both of these situations, I learned to respond differently. I learned to solve my life issues when problems were happening without a snack in my hand, right? Solve it without eating something. And I learned to celebrate my wins without food. And I still do those things to this day. Which of these 4 pressures cause the most disturbance in your diet? We're trying to master all 4 of them at the same time is not going to be a good thing for you to do. It's going to be a recipe for disaster, wellness warrior. What you're going to want to do is pick the one that is messing with you the most and then tackle it first. And you're going to be surprised that when you figure out the first one and see that you could actually change this and it stops tripping you, it stops making you touch junk food, it gives you incentive to solve the second most troubling one and the third most until you've gotten them all 4 solved. And that could take weeks, maybe it takes months, maybe it even takes years. But I want you to think about something. If solving them one at a time allows you to stay on track, if it allows you to know that you're eating healthy every day, isn't that worth it? Because before doing a keto or carnivore lifestyle, we were all on a weight gain diet. Our weight was rising every single year. They tell us that the average person gains like 2 to 5 pounds per year. And that played out again for me. I saw it. I was 80 pounds overweight, wellness warrior, and fighting with myself, nothing working. So put the one that you're going to work on in the comments below and share what you think you're going to do to make it work. How are you going to tackle it? And wellness warrior, I want you, after you've put the one you're working on and what you think you're going to do about it, go to someone else's post and encourage them in what they're working on, right? If you have an idea for them, share it. Hey, try this. That worked for me. If you've already solved that one for yourself. The more that we support each other, the more likely we are to win. And each one of us winning means that the possibility that we teach our kids to do this better increases. The next generation is where we turn all of this around, Wellness Warrior. If we all succeed by supporting each other, we stick it to the garbage selling company. The food companies that are trying to just take our money and leave us stuck, we stick it to them at the same time. If you've already conquered these issues, please, I want to hear about it. List the non-scale victories that you have. That'll encourage people who haven't solved it yet to know that there's lots positive waiting for us at the other side of this. It's not just about weight. As a matter of fact, it's barely about weight. Now, here's that video about companies training us to eat junk that I spoke about earlier. You can check it out after you've left your comment. And start it with saying yes to my health so that I know you made it to the end of the video. That video is pinned below. I can't wait to see you in the comments.